You're not a real man. Men, imagine hearing this. Women, imagine your loved one hearing this. Men are constantly hearing and seeing this portrayed on the screens of our television. Our young men are growing up in a society that tells them they have to mask their emotions because their emotions will never be accepted. This is like constantly having a hand over your mouth. Our men have no voice. Their voices are constantly silenced and continuously unheard when regarding situations such as domestic violence, rape, and emotions in general. Why do we continue to do this? Because we live in a society that is based off of cis heteropatriarchy. Cis heteropatriarchy is the belief that the heterosexual male is the dominant figure within our society. A lot of us say that we are against sexism, yet we continue to reinforce this heteropatriarchy. We continuously say that men cannot be seen as victims of domestic violence or rape, or they can't show their emotions because this is seen as only for females. This heteropatriarchy is a tape that covers the mouths of our men in our society, and it is up to us to deconstruct this way of thinking and living. Sexual harassment is increasingly being reported within the workforce today. According to EEOC, the sexual harassment cases have jumped from 17.1% to 18.9% regarding a male being sexually harassed by a female. Why do you think cis heteropatriarchy allows this? Because it is showing that women can't be seen as dominant figures in the workplace. Everyone thinks that this is men being able to have their voices be heard when in actuality it's just reinforcing cis heteropatriarchy. It's showing that a woman is unfit in her places in the home. Unless we deconstruct cis heteropatriarchy, this will never change. We as a society typically tend to ignore the fact that men are victims of domestic violence. According to RAIN, 72% of police officers, when responding to domestic violence situations, tend to ask the female to recollect the event. Why is this? 40% of males are victims of domestic violence, but yet we continue to ask 72% of the time for the female to recollect the event. Do we not see a problem here? When men are victims of domestic violence, 63% of the time it's with a deadly weapon. We can't continue to ignore these statistics. And we can't continue to glorify women when they abuse a male. Solange Knowles, sister of Beyonce Knowles, was glorified and uplifted when she abused Jay-Z on an elevator. Beyonce Knowles herself reinforced this and glorified her sister when addressing it in a song. There was no one rallying for Jay-Z. He was the victim in the situation. But Solange was glorified. Chris Brown, a singer and a rapper, was found guilty of charges when he beat Rihanna. He was stripped of every endorsement that he had. His radio hits were not played on radio at all. His CDs were pulled off the shelves. He was ordered community service and even spent time in jail. Why are these two situations so different? Why is the woman glorified and the male tends to lose everything? We can't continue to live in a society that reinforces this heteropatriarchy. The men are not only abusers, they can be victims as well. We continue to receive misrepresentation due to stereotypes and false information. One very false piece of information that we see in our society is that men can't be raped. According to RAIN, statistics show that 2.78 million men within the United States alone have been victims of rape. Before the tender age of 18, 18% of our males have been noted to have been victims of rape. These statistics show that men are victims. Their voices are just silenced. We never hear about any type of programs for males that are victims of rape. Yet if I type in anything regarding rape, women endorsements and women shelters pop up. Why is this imbalance happening? We can't continue to reinforce this heteropatriarchy. It's not right. Men are constantly told that they can't show their emotions. Don't believe me? Upon watching a show on VH1, Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, a rapper by the name of Min DC was being sentenced to 8 years in prison. He was on his way to turn himself in. The mother of his children, his wife, crying. His mother, crying. His little girl, crying. When he began to talk to his son and they began to cry, his mother told him to man up. Why? He is about to be away from his family for 8 years, not being able to be intimate with his family, not being able to see his children grow up, but he has to man up. He's not able to show his emotions. Why do we continue to do this to our men in our society? What happens when he goes to jail? Are we going to blame it on him being angry, or are we going to blame it on the fact that his emotions are unstable and that is the reason why he ends up in solitary confinement? We can't continue to reinforce this heteropatriarchy. Men cry too. It's not just a female thing. The feminist theory focuses on gender equality, yet we do not take into consideration that men are seen as unequal in situations as well. How many feminists are marching for men's rights right now? How many are even acknowledging the fact that men are victims of rape, domestic violence, they are told that they have to master emotions, and etc.? We don't see it. We can't continue to say that we're feminists if we're not going for equality. I completely understand that there is a problem within the workforce regarding women, but there are also other aspects where men's voices are silenced. Feminists are quick to rally for women, but we do not jump for the same regarding men. If we're going to preach equality, we need to practice it. It's as simple as that. With this heteropatriarchy, it is designed to ignore male victims because males can't be seen as inferior. It's not possible. Males are only dominant. Only women can be seen as victims. So if we truly want equality, we have to deconstruct this heteropatriarchy. Because if we continue to live by this heteropatriarchy, women will forever be seen as the victim. Stop reinforcing it. Stop saying that men can't be abused. Stop saying that men can't be raped. Stop having your loved ones and people and men around you mask their emotions. The only way for us to be equal is for us to accept the fact that everyone is able to be a victim. Stop letting cis heteropatriarchy control your life. It's time for the deconstruction of it. Thank you.